This woman's name is Lorraine Lindsay. Okay, Lorraine Lindsay. She has a podcast on YouTube, and she has some other, platforms outside of on social media. All right, she's a self-described mindset transformation coach and podcast host. All right, I don't really know if she has a psychiatric pedigree, but her realm would seem to be that of the mind and shit. And I actually recorded another commentary. I don't know if I'll put it out, but it's regarding a clip of her. I saw of her being upset about women being called hyenas, and she made it a point to press this upon a co-host whose name escapes me at this time. But I'm sorry, brother, but it's not important that we say your name. But what I have to say, I want to say that this woman was absolutely brutal. She was brutal. And, I ain't saying she wasn't honest or anything, but she was absolutely brutal to this man. All right? He ran over him. She told police stuff and shit, and he barely held his own and shit. And it's a position that we, as men, find ourselves in perpetually, throughout our life, especially in the supposed community, you know. And I feel a certain way about it and shit, but I think maybe they're on the West Coast, maybe because the way she spoke, I had heard that several times before. I don't want to get into it. If someone finds out who I am, they're gonna be really pissed and shit if I drag them like that. But I met a lot of women that spoke the way she does. With this pointed. I don't know. It's almost like it's intrusive. It's not actually talking to you. It's like more talking at you. It felt like she was talking at him, and she knew that she was doing this, so she would always break it up by, backtracking and saying, "Oh, we're friends, and I'll give you a hug." And even her saying she would give this guy a hug and shit at one point in the podcast I was looking at felt disingenuous. Knowing that this guy looked like he was going through 3 stages of hell. He looked like just under the skin, this guy was going through the 5 stages of grief sitting in front of her. Okay, it's not that she's some great person, but that you know, her will and her self-determination and belief, is so oppressive, right? I don't know what to say. I don't want to call her a narcissist, but I've seen this before, and I've heard women speak like this before. I've even been spoken to in this manner several hundred times in my life. And as we do, in the community, the men, we build up a tolerance and a very thick skin that we just ignore that shit. And, I always laugh my ass off because I'm a realist, I'm a truth sayer. And when I always say, like, even the women that, have this pedigree, and this self assuredness and the successful business women or whatever the fuck their hustle is, they're just winning their life, right? They always still end up with the same kind of guys with the same fucking complaints and whatnot. If you don't believe me, see anything recently that Ebony K. Williams has been talking about for the last year and a half, you understand where I'm coming from and shit. Yeah, I found, the age I am now, there's nothing she could do. I'm a Teflon Don to this kind of shit. I'm with Steve Rogers. I can do this all day bullshit. She would be very frustrated with me, whatnot. And I thought it was funny that, she was upset about women being called hyenas, but she didn't, you know, I guess the guy's a co-host or something, but she could have like restarted the podcast or something. Maybe they could have gone in separate ways. You know, if it was so upsetting to her, which I find it hard to believe. I just didn't think she. I just didn't find her, convincing. I just feel like she's wholly disingenuous. Even her outer layer is a facade, hiding. You know, whatever is hiding in, whatever's inside her head. Like I don't know if anyone really wants to know about that. I mean, she has a pretty rapping, and a lot of women. I've met a lot of women like this. They were attractive and everything, had nice figures and everything. But once you talk to them, you wanted to get the fuck away. Okay, you were just like you almost climbing out the window to get away from their oppressive talk, and they would say that's because you're not on their level and shit. I'm like, well, who's on your level and shit? Aren't we all humans? Aren't we all humans and shit? What's left? We've seen women like this. What's at the end of the road for them? And it's that's not a foregone conclusion. Maybe she can change her life around and everything. Because I'm coaching her right now. Maybe she can change her life around and find some fulfilling happiness to find out who she truly is on some level outside of her tangible achievements and shit. That seems to be all she talks about. Everything that defines her is her work ethic and this and that and other and shit. There's nothing organic, and she referred to her her romantic other as a partner and shit. That's a red flag for me and for many other men and shit. We don't want partners. We want lovers and wives and friends, But then women, they always describe it as shit in like a business aesthetic. And when I tell you, when you hear that, you should head for the fucking hills. Right? Nobody wants to hear that. I've heard that. I've even had women like this discuss my life in front of me, without regarding me and shit. They're standing like within, right in front of me, talking to each other about what they're gonna do regarding my future and everything. If you can believe that, it wasn't my mom. Okay, these are not my mother. And these people that were younger than me, two well-accomplished women. They wanted to help me, or so they said and shit. But they didn't talk to me or anything and shit. Not that. Those particular women, we have a certain relationship, but I love them and shit. I accept them as who they are, but they can never see me as a human being, right? They can never see me or hear me, truly, right? I'm invisible to them. I'm the geek underground and shit, okay? Hence my avatar, has a bunch of different meanings. But getting back to Miss Lorraine Lindsay, she is absolutely brutal. I feel really bad for whoever's in the relationship with her. This other guy, he was ran the fuck over and shit. Whether he wants to admit it or not. Some people said, watch the same podcast they did. He was pushing back, but as a man, you shouldn't be in in this kind of situation. You shouldn't really be in a defensive posture. When someone's pressing you. You shouldn't be in a defensive posture. I go all out. Okay, I'm open-minded. I listen. I'm not waiting to talk. I'm actually listening and shit. You can't say the same for this woman. And I don't know. I don't really know the woman and shit. But I just chuckled to myself when I thought about all the women that I had met. Earlier in my life. My early adulthood, who were studying psychology at the community college. You asked them if they were going to be a therapist, and there was like this blank stare. And then you later on, you kind of realized they were a good number of them was studying psychology so that they could be better at, hiding who they truly are, and fooling people and shit. It's like that show Dexter. How he pretends to be normal and shit, just barely, because he just fits in, a certain, he just fits into his background that people just ignore the odd things about him. But some people can see him directly, and it just makes the flesh crawl. I get the same feeling from this female. Now, I'm not trying to make a disparaging comment. I'm just making an observation that she, I'm looking at a humanoid brick. I would never try anything with this woman. I would never try to relate to her in any way. There's nothing there for someone like myself and whatnot, and what I believe. Make no mistake about it. I am a misogynist, anarchist, and whatnot. And what that means is that I believe our ethnic community needs a hard reset. I am so, I don't know if I'm going to say unbothered by this female, but like I didn't even care to try to find out what her ethnicity is. But we got a brother sitting in front of her, and the way she was going at him, it made the brother look small. In retrospect, it made me question this masculinity and shit. And that is a byproduct of dealing with, modern women these days and whatnot, and letting them have their way with a free hand. Right? You have to push back and shit. I'm not saying being the stereotype of a chauvinist or anything like that. I'm just saying that, you know, you have to be unapologetically masculine to a fault. I could never be in a defensive posture in front of a, I guess you would call her a immovable object. And, the geek here would be an irresistible force. That's pretty much all I have to say. Take care.